Hi guys, you are back with Ali from Adventures in Claret and Blue and American Hammers TV, along with Reese, and we're going to give you the roundup of this week's action from West Ham women, as well as a look ahead for the Chelsea Conti Cup game, and also the welcome return of Brie Vasali, even though she was playing for the opposition on Sunday. So, Reese, let's talk about the game as a whole. How do you think we did?
Uh, we won 1-0, so we did something right, obviously. But I was quite impressed with the performance. I think we showed a different side to our game that I liked. The fact of we scored the goal and we was playing already. I think our big on Sunday and rest in the top. I thought quite solid game on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Sunday was interesting because Birmingham were always going to be a bogey team. You know, we lost to them twice last season, and they also had the unfortunate incident with Morehouse in the last game last season where she got her red, and it was unsure whether she was going to be in the FA Cup final. So I think we played very well against the team that we faced in front of us. Birmingham got feisty, like. Harrop and a couple of others were booked. I believe they were very lucky to not be sent off. I know Harrop was getting very frustrated with Martha and Leon and was getting very physical against those two. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think we played as well as we did against Arsenal. Arsenal, we were a bit more clinical. Even though we lost, we were a bit more clinical. We had a bit more technique about us. This game felt a bit scrappy, and it felt a bit sort of like we got our goal and then we sort of hunkered down a bit, and it wasn't as beautiful football as the Arsenal game had been. But a win is a win is a win.
With playing attractive football, I think playing attractive football is okay, but the other team has to allow you to play that in certain stages. But I don't think a team like Birmingham allow you to do that. You know, they're very physical. They close you down quite well, and I think we just needed to show a gritty side to our game. What I found interesting was on the women's football show on BBC4, I watched the interview that Kate Longhurst had, and she said every time I've went up against Birmingham, I've had to show a gritty side to my game. Yeah. And I mean, when about 8 minutes a typical Kate Longhurst tackle goes in, you kind of know what she means.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, I think against Arsenal, we played attractive football, but we didn't get any points. Against Birmingham, we didn't play the most attractive football, and we won. So I guess we can take that as more of a positive than a negative.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely a positive because, like I said, we've got the 3 points, which, you know, we're up to 5th, which I still haven't worked out how that happened because we're on level points with Tottenham. So I would have thought they would be above us because of alphabetically, but I still haven't quite worked out why we're 5th.
Goal difference.
Is it goal difference?
Actually,
no, it can't be because they've not.
No, sorry, I thought they lost 2-0 to Chelsea. Sorry, it was 1-0.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Rumours are having it for me that it was under the yellow cards, but they've got more yellow cards than we do. But I'm not quite sure how they've worked that one out. But I'll take it.
That's still surprising that they've got more yellow cards than us.
What are you saying about our girls, Reece?
We like to get a bit tactical sometimes, don't we, Ali?
Just a little bit. But no, overall, I was very impressed. You know, we ground it out. I mean, the weather conditions were not ideal. It was absolutely scorching for quite a late September day. But we definitely dug in. We got the points. However, the big talking point's got to be, was Staniforth's goal a goal? The ref said no, said that we cleared it. I have had many a Birmingham fan tell me that it should have been a draw, and the ref didn't know what he was talking about. So what do you think?
I agree with the ref didn't know what he was talking about. So. But with that goal, I think it's until you get goal line technology in the FAWSL, no one's ever going to know the answer. I mean, they don't have a camera behind the goal, so it's going to be hard. And the linesman, for me, they're blaming the referee, but the linesman should be in that position because there was no players near the post where the linesman was, so he must have saw it and decided it wasn't a goal. And from where I was looking, it looked like Brosnan just when it bounced on the line, and Brosnan grabbed it.
Yeah.
So I don't think the ball crossed the line, and I think it was the right decision. But obviously, I'm going to say that because I'm a West Ham Women's fan.
No, of course. I've actually looked at it, and it was close. It was like the closest of margins. And like you said, if we'd had goal line technology, maybe they would have ruled it differently. But from the naked eye, we're talking millimeters, but it didn't go over. It was not a goal for Birmingham.
But this is when we're talking about the next step for women's football, and it is probably bringing stuff like goal line technology in. I'm not a fan of VAR, so I wouldn't like that in the game. But I think
don't say the swear word of VAR because that ruined the Women's World Cup for me.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. That's why that's what actually made me not like it because in the Italian league that I watch on a Saturday when I have nothing else to do, it worked quite well. But I think with VAR, it just creates too many debates. It's supposed to get rid of debates, but I think it creates even more, to be honest, Ali.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they use it for everything, which is not what VAR is meant to be. It's supposed to be for controversial decisions that they can go watch back. But in the World Cup, it literally was used for every decision, and refs just didn't use their nous, really. They didn't think.
See, I was talking about this with somebody who comes over to Barking games. And I said the way that VAR would work for me is the way they do it, like in cricket. For me, it should be both the captains get like one appeal each, and both managers get one appeal each either side, and then the referee decides when he needs it. And then obviously, if they don't agree with the decision, or if there's a point the captain thinks the referee should go to VAR, then that's his appeal. The ref goes over and checks it. But because I think they use it too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely in the World Cup. So we've had some positives about the Birmingham game. What do we need to improve on going into next week?
I think it's just playing a bit more expansive football, really. Yeah, I think that was the only negative, that we didn't play as well as we could. But if I'm looking at an improvement, I'd say it's probably trying to show the expansive football that we're talking about for a whole 90 minutes. For me, we haven't shown that yet throughout 90 minutes this season. And I think when we do, we're going to be a ruthless team. But it's really hard to take negatives out of a game that you've won. I mean, against Arsenal, me and you were both picking out negatives because we lost. But when you win, it kind of is like paper under the cracks, if that makes sense, Ali.
Yeah, it negates all of the negatives because we won. We got the 3 points.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get onto the other team's scores later on, but Chelsea didn't do as well as they were thought to have done against Brighton. In fact, it was quite a scrappy comeback for them in the very dying minutes of that game. So hopefully we can expose that again, and we can prey on that again. And because we've got a draw with them at the away fixture last season, despite what the BBC says that we lost. BBC reporting, but the fact that we can, maybe they are not back to the full strength squad. Kirby's out for the foreseeable, which always gives them a dangerous pace. They've got a fair few out at the moment, so he's hoping that, we can sort of play. For them, it would be playing compact football and not going as wide because they've got really good wingers. So we're going to want to keep it in the middle, keep it tight, have an actual midfield like we've got with Middag and Longhurst. And that's probably, I think, I would want to see for us to get anything from the Chelsea game.
With the Chelsea game, I think it depends what kind of squad both teams put out. It's a Conti Cup match. I think we'll go strong, but not too sure on Chelsea. If they'll go strong or not, I think they'll have one eye on the league mainly this year. But if we're talking about how to get a result against Chelsea, I think Chelsea struggled when Birmingham actually went out wide and exposed them that way. And I think we've got, if Lehmann starts, we've got a winger that can cut for me any defence in the league open. And I think we've now got a striker that can score with both her head and her feet. So and I think she brings wingers in. Thomas brings wingers into games as well. So I think we can beat Chelsea. However, they've got home advantage. And like I said, it for me it depends what side Chelsea put out. I think if they go weak, I think we beat them.
Yeah.
But if they go strong, I think it'll be a tough game at Kings Meadow.
So the big question is, which goalkeeper are you hoping they're going to put out, Berger or Telford?
I think they'll put out Berger. To be honest, I don't rate Berger as a goalkeeper. I'm going to be honest. I think she palms too much. She tries to make everything look too dramatic. So yeah, I'm hoping Berger, but with Chelsea, you never know, do you, Ali? I mean, I was having a chat with Edward on Sunday, and we were saying the problem with Chelsea is they can't get the solid back four because they keep on changing their goalkeeper every 5 minutes.
Yep, because if anybody remembers last season, they ended up with a grand total of 4 for reasons no one could work out why. They have got rid of 2 of them now, and so they are back down to like 2, maybe 3. I think they've got a youth keeper, but yeah, Chelsea had a lot of keepers last.
The positive going into the Chelsea game as well is, except from the wonder goal against Tottenham, I think both Brighton and Tottenham have really found Chelsea out in spells in the game. And I think against more, with respect to both teams, in my opinion, I think we're better than both Brighton and Tottenham. So I think we'll, again, like I said, I think we're a bit more of a ruthless team as well. So I think we will cut Chelsea open a lot on Sunday if they play the way they've been playing lately.
Yep, absolutely. But back to the Birmingham game and last season. So we've seen the positives, we've seen some of the negatives. However, the biggest talking point really was the fact that Brie Vasali came back to Rush Green despite the fact that she was opposition. And we gave her a warm welcome in the fact that one of our players absolutely flew her across the side going in for a tackle. So we said, no love lost there. And she retaliated by accidentally kicking Gilly in the face. So...
sounds like a nice, positive game, doesn't it?
She was going for the ball, missed the ball, and Gilly was already on the floor, and she ended up kicking Gilly in the face. So it was an accident, but it was an eventful return for Vasali. And I don't want to dwell on the negatives, but I do want to bring up the fact that there was some less than sportsmanlike behaviour from the fans in the fact that when she came over to clap them, they booed her. And you said you thought it might have been a joke that had gone wrong, or...
Well, my opinion on that, I don't think it was when she was coming over to clap, because there were boos from where I was sitting that stand, and it was during the game. And the group I stay with, because of that, after the game, we had a joke with Brie, and then we then we sang our song, which is she's fast, something else. She runs across the grass. Breathe us Ali, breathe us Ali. But this is where I want to open up a question which I was going to discuss. I think this kind of is something you have to dwell on a bit. This is a new season where we're saying we want to take men's football fans over to the women's game.
Right.
Now, for me, if we went to a men's game, for example, because we normally go to women's games, we wouldn't usually boo a returning player because there's a bit more respect in women's football for that.
Yeah.
However, I'm not saying this was men's football fans because I don't know, but say it was. In men's football, when an opposition player plays against your team, you boo them. So I think it's more of finding the balance of, do we as women's football fans also have to respect that that's what they usually do at men's games, so they may find that acceptable, and as new fans as their new fans, the old fans have to allow them to adjust to the way we support the teams. Because I remember last year, if I came into women's football and I found out an old player played against West Ham, I would have probably done the same because I was more from the men's football background until I adjusted to that. Yeah. So I think, like I'm saying, it's about finding the balance and letting new fans adjust to the way the old fans support their teams.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, I am, a fan of banter and having a bit of rivalry and stuff like that, like we did with the Tottenham friendly and stuff like that. I just think I never liked it in the men's game. I think if a player has left you with all of like the good wishes and the goodwill, like they've not done a Paul Ince, they've not gone, running around with the opposition shirt before it's been announced that they've left you and things like that. If they've left you on great terms, then there's no need for it. If they've left you on terrible terms, like for example, I'm not saying you should, but when we play Man United, if there's going to be some West Ham fans that boo Jane Ross, I would understand it because Rossi left us in not great terms. The same with Rhea Percival, sort of left us very quickly to go play, especially Rhea went to play for our rivals in Tottenham. I'm not saying I condone it, but I understand it. Brie didn't leave us in bad terms. She left us on, which was not her choice. She's found another club in England because she likes playing in the English league. I just thought it was a bit tasteless that fans thought it was okay to boo. And I don't think it was the men's fans because I don't think they would know who Brie was.
Well, but like I said, it does open up topic. But you said about Jane Ross. So my argument to that is I know we've only been in the WSL one season, but she's our all-time record goal scorer in the FAWSL. So why boo her? Yeah. We've got. I know she went to Manchester United and everything, but it's putting that point out there as well. So it's just like I said, it's really finding the balance. Me and you could bring out plenty of debates about this. With Rhea and with Jane, I'm going to be honest, I would probably feel the need to boo them because of the facts they haven't left us on good terms, and the fact that Rhea plays for Tottenham, I would probably boo any player that puts on that Tottenham shirt.
Yeah.
So, but like I kept on repeating myself a lot, I think it literally is just finding the balance, letting new fans adjust. Because you never know, it could have just been a harmless bit of fan that's been fired up and took into something completely out of the blue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we've talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to let you lead now with talking about the Chelsea game that's coming up, as well as we've got the big Tottenham game, which I'm going to keep pushing because we've sold 10,000 tickets already. And any UK fans or any US fans that happen to be over for that weekend, keep buying because we want to beat the Man City attendance record of 31,000 for our game against Tottenham. But I'm going to let you lead about the Chelsea game.
Chelsea game. Just got a list things that promote that are new in the club shop at the team. There's new printed photos. One of these in the it's a bit actually. There it is. So yeah, shop anybody that wants to buy one. I think they may at the London Stadium, which would be great. As they're only £5, so that's a bargain. There's a newly designed program. Hold on, Ali. Got a bit.
I was going to say, you've disappeared. You've gone blank. So I'm just staring at the darkness.
Yeah, there we go. Me lot. That's got a picture. So yeah, newly designed programs for £2. Tickets are on sale for the top game at the stadium, which is adults £2, children £1 if you're a woman season ticket holder. I think you get a maximum of 4 tickets for £1. The Chelsea away game this weekend, it's adults £3, children £1. It'd be lovely to see some more away supporters.
Yep, absolutely.
And so my first topic is our attendances at our screen. They have seemed to have right, so that's a great positive we can take out of the game as well. Ali.
Yes.
What do you think is going to be the key to keep these attendances growing now after the World Cup?
Well, the biggest one for me, and it's not much we can do about it now because they've come out, but is we've got to stop clashing with the men's games, because there are going to be fans of both, and I know for a fact that most of the male supporters are going to support the men's team over the women's game. So if they're both playing at the same time, then they're going to go to the men's game, and that's when our attendances are going to dip. We need to keep it where we're not clashing with the men's games anymore. Because if you look at the fixture last year against Arsenal, the West Ham attendance was nil.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. Because the men's were playing Chelsea that same day. So that's going to be the biggest thing. I think keep doing the promotion. I think we're getting better with our Twitter content and like our social media content, but West Ham need to kick that up a bit because it's still, a bit patchy here and there, but, getting involved with like doing the Ask Gilly thing, which ended up in the program. And they've also done a video for it recently, doing bits of media. I don't know if you guys have seen the 90 minutes interview with Alicia and Julia. If you haven't, you should. It's hilarious. Them two should not be allowed to do media together.
That is one of my favourite interviews of all time, especially when Lehman goes Simic's best body feature. She explicitly said her ass. I was in total and utter shock when she said that.
Oh yeah, well, never mind that. When she said it was Alicia was going to be her teeth, and then Alicia wouldn't actually say what her favourite body part was, which
couldn't say it on camera.
But yeah, I think it's got to be, we've got to keep up with social media, but also as family friendly as the women's game is, I think we need to stop aiming it just at families. We need to aim it at, this is football. They just happen to be women playing it. They're just as skillful. They're just as entertaining. You're going to get just as much passion out of them. And it should be, it's football, not that it's a family day out.
There is a side to that of I think the reason they go more towards family football, Ali, is because the way they see it, a family is more than one person, obviously. But I think the main thing we need to actually do is aim it more at kids, because what we've got to remember is it's okay having these big attendances for maybe 1 or 2 games, but if you get a kid involved and they really enjoy it, that could be at least 30 to 40 years of them supporting, and then if they have kids, they're going to bring theirs. So this attendances will keep on rising throughout throughout the years, and I think also an advantage with kids is a lot of kids like to bring their mates.
Yeah.
So you could get a big group that maybe, they bring their mates for the first time. We see it typically. Some are Tottenham, some are Chelsea, some are Arsenal of the men's games, and they will become, say, West Ham Women fans because they like going to West Ham Women. So I think that's the main target of targeting kids, but also targeting other areas. And like you said, let's not just aim it at friendlies, because there are people that are more independent. So it's just about finding the balance, really.
I think it's going to become your catchphrase that we're finding the balance.
Yeah, I've said that a lot tonight.
So is that what you think? You think aiming it at kids and getting them to bring their mates, but also just aiming that it is football?
Yeah.
The men's team could do more? Do you think we should be putting more adverts on around the London Stadium to be like, hey, you've got your game on Saturday, you've got another game on Sunday?
The men's team can do more, yes. But I think the problem that I found really was every time like the men's social media put something about women's football, some of the comments on there are absolutely disgusting. So I think some clubs just keep away from it. But I do think the men's teams can do more to promote. But not only the men's team, I think it's the club in a whole, maybe putting posters near Rush Green that I said in the first show, in West Ham shops, and just, opening up the advertising. Because I think if we have good advertising and so do the league, I think we're onto something special.
I always said my biggest thing is you should be able to get pre-printed shirts with some of the bigger players, even if you can just like select it on the website. Because my parents have bought me a shirt for the last couple of years, and you don't understand how long my mum poured over Brianna's name to make sure she'd spelt Vasali right. And the same this year by getting Jilly on the back of my shirt. She spent a long time making sure she got Flatty's surname right and the right numbers. And if you could get them on like the pre-printed cycle, that would be a huge thing. We'd probably get to see more.
Funny you say that, because Arsenal, they're women's fans. Where we were sitting at the Arsenal game, something I actually really liked was on the back of their shirts. The FAWSL have brought out the new league printing.
Oh yeah,
they had that and the league decals, and I was saying in the club shop that maybe we should do that, because I personally would like more and like the FAWSL, because I've got Flatty at the back of my home shirt with 5, so I'd rather FAWSL because it's on the back of my shirt it's Premier League, and it doesn't really work well. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to hit now about the Chelsea game. I know we've talked a little bit more about what we've got to do, but how important is it to win Chelsea in this Conti Cup first round?
I think it's quite important actually, because I think for me the Chelsea and Reading, we're away to both of them, and they're our biggest competition in this group. So I think if we can beat Chelsea, that will really drive us on. I think all our home games are winnable, but the only thing that worries me about getting out of this Conti Cup group is that the fact that we've gave our 2 biggest rivals home advantage.
Yes, that is true. However, we did beat Reading at their gaff twice last season. We beat them in the league at the Majeski, and then we also beat them in one of the most nail-biting games I've ever been to, in the semi-final of the FA Cup. So
that game, I remember that. I was literally nearly about to check my blood pressure at one point.
I don't have fingernails from it. Also, Reading's form hasn't been fantastic. If you look at their game against Manchester City this weekend, not only was it Manchester City were better playing, Reading were dire. They really were.
Yeah.
Their back four wasn't as good. Their goalkeeper had to make some insane saves because their defenders let the ball go. So I'm hoping what we can sort of, play about that is the fact that if we've got Leon and Thomas, who seem to be becoming a great partnership with each other, if we can get them to like work around the Reading defence, then I think we've got a good shot with Reading.
See, with Reading, I think you said Man City made them look dire, but Man City can make any team look like that. And then you can argue against Liverpool. They beat Liverpool, and I think from what I heard, they deserve to win it. From the Red Men Women's podcast. So I think for me, my point on giving them to home advantage, I just don't like the fact that we've gave them home advantage. Chelsea is hard enough to play them at times, let alone giving them home advantage. But on the other hand, this is another interesting point, is against the teams that could cause an upset against us, we've made sure we're at home. So we could have a nice tally of points to go into them Reading and Chelsea games. And you never know. Reading and Chelsea may get beat by Crystal Palace or Lewis, I think, are in the group as well.
Yep, we've got Lewis back in November. I've got my time books off work, so I can go to that one.
The main thing, though, on the Chelsea game for me is just continuing the way we've started the season, looking impressive, looking like we can beat any team. And like I said, another good thing that I said last week is if we beat Chelsea, beat Birmingham, looked at against Arsenal, it grows to Tottenham attendance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because like I said, we want to beat Man City, even if it's just in attendance records. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend's an ex-Man City fan, so I'm kind of a bit like, we need to beat them at something.
Is she an ex-Man City fan, or have you forced her to support West Ham, Women Ali?
She got a season ticket for her birthday. She didn't necessarily ask for the season ticket, but she got a season ticket for her birthday.
Yeah, my point's proven then.
Correct bad behaviour. So we want to quickly say something about, we're going to spotlight a player each week, and the one we want to do this week has got to be our goal-scoring machine, Martha Thomas. At the moment, Martha is absolute fire. She came to us from Le Havre, but as Reese has been saying, she can carve up any defence, which is always a great thing with her. I'm looking forward to seeing her and Alicia working together a bit more, because Alicia's been injured, so she's only been coming on for part of the second half. But I also think her and Thomas and Leon are getting a great partnership.
With saying that, I don't think Lehmann will start with Thomas against Chelsea. I think Matt will save her again for the Tottenham game, because I think we will have one eye on that Tottenham home game, like we did with Birmingham. It's the more winnable game.
Yeah. Okay, that would be interesting. Yeah, because I know she has been in. So, what are your thoughts on Martha? How do you think she's doing so well? Is she on her way to become a West Ham legend?
That's really early to say that, on her way to become a West Ham legend. But if she keeps on performing like the way she has been week in, week out, I think she could. I think the main thing with Thomas is she was under a lot of pressure to become the main striker for West Ham and replace Jane Ross. And I think right now she's really excelling in the team. I think she's a great addition. Like I've said nearly every podcast, she can carve any defence open. And what I like about her is she's a bit similar to Jane Ross in the fact of she brings wingers into play, but she can do more of, she can play both systems. And she's, like you said, on the start of when we did these podcasts, Ali, you said Jane Ross wasn't really a Matt Beard striker. And at that point, I was thinking, no, I was questioning why you said that. But now I've seen Martha Thomas, I actually understand what you mean.
Yeah.
She's a lot more two-dimensional. Matt likes to mix up the tactics a bit, become a bit unpredictable, which is always good in a team. And I think Martha Thomas, her main target would probably be to beat Jane Ross's tally last year for West Ham. Because I think if she does that, she becomes the record FAWSL goal scorer for West Ham women, which is a great achievement, even if we have been in the FAWSL only one season.
Why stop there? Why not go after Miedemaier's record of 22 goals?
Well, that's always going to be difficult because Miedemaier could break that herself. But if she does that, then that really would be a great achievement.
No, absolutely. So, looking ahead, what are we thinking for West Ham the first half of this season? What are we thinking?
So, like I said before we started the season, the Tottenham review episode, I said I'd be happy with mid-table. However, after our first two games, I would like to see us maybe fourth. Now, the reason I say that is the team that was expected to be fourth in Reading, I think we've looked better than right now. I know it's really early to say that. And I think we have to take into consideration that last year's team beat Reading twice away from home and drew to them. So we were unbeaten last year against Reading. I think if we can really put in performances away from home, pick up points, and like I said a lot before Sunday, which is another one of my catchphrases, is home form worries me. If we can continue like the way we did against Birmingham in winning them games, I think my target come January, the first game in January, would be to see us fourth in the league.
That is some high hopes. So we're going to quickly run through the other scores for the FAWSL. We won't focus on them too much because it's not West Ham, but I always like to go through them. So we've always mentioned that Manchester City beat Reading 2-0 with Bremner back, which
she's one of the surprises of the FAWSL so far.
Absolutely, because I don't know if anybody's aware, but she had a very, very bad leg break a couple of seasons ago, actually. I was actually at that game, and you actually heard the crack around the stadium. That's how bad the leg break was. So she's been brought in early because Ellen White's injured, Lauren Hemp's injured, and Georgia Stanway's just announced that she's got a hamstring injury for 6 weeks. And she's scored twice in their Champions League game and then twice again in against Reading. So she's going to be a threat for sure. So that's something to look out for. Chelsea Brighton, that's got to be the game that everybody was quite stunned at, in the fact that Chelsea actually went down 1-0 about 88 minutes in. And if you've not seen it, the strike is something spectacular. It was a brilliant play with a nod down, and then Brighton player got it into the back of the net with the belter of a goal. Whereas the Chelsea game was a bit more typical.
90th minute as well, wasn't it?
90th minute, their sub, which is showing that they're not the powerhouse that they were, but they had a slow start last season and picked up towards the end. But if Hayes is looking for Champions League football, there's not that many games you can blow. And they got the 1-0 win against Tottenham, but then to draw against Brighton, which on paper is a team you should be smashing, are you going to end up third again, missing out on Champions League for the second year in a row?
I think an important point as well is Emma Hayes did actually say the FAWSL is probably the most competitive. I think most games this year have been won by one goal. So I think there's going to be a lot of results like that where teams do shock the top three. But I think more for Chelsea, their target has to be to get back into the Champions League. But I think Brighton as well. Let's talk about Brighton. That's a real positive, and that can then spur them on to become a really strong team at home. But hopefully not in their next home game because we're playing them.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. But they were under threat because of Laura Rafferty's ACL injury. But the fact that they've managed to keep up, which is pretty impressive. So we had Arsenal, Man United. On
what a brilliant game that was.
That was a very hardcore game. I'm not the biggest Man United fan, but credit to them. They gave Arsenal a cracking game. Mary Earps made some insane...
I was about to say, Mary Earps has done herself a really big positive going into the England games because Phil Neville was watching and she was outstanding. I think she made three double saves in all different moments. Yeah. And did you see the post Arsenal put out? It did really make me laugh. Miedema was about to fire and Earps is hiding around the post. I think that was one of the best posts from a social media club in the WSL this year. Yeah, no, absolutely. And they got pipped to the post by Arsenal in a very last minute goal again from Van der Donk. But we talk about differences about winning the league. Players coming off the bench and scoring 90th minute winners. When we look at the season, you never know, that Van der Donk goal could be the difference between Arsenal winning the WSL over their two main rivals. Well, that's it. Arsenal won it last year. They've lost more games than Man City, but Man City drew more games. So getting those 3 points, because we've got so few games in the league, it's about being more of a ruthless team, though, because that's how I think Arsenal won the league last year. There was a much more ruthless team up front than Man City. Yeah. One of the more controversial games has to be the Liverpool game, the Liverpool-Tottenham game, because there was a red card, there was a sceptical penalty, and the Liverpool manager was blaming the officials for that one because she said that the official should have given her team a free kick before the run on to what became the penalty. And I know anybody who follows women's football, as much as we moan about the officials in the men's game, the officials in the women's game are dire. Yeah, because I follow non-league football as well, obviously, because that's my job. A lot of them referees actually do refer National League South level regularly. So for me, I think really what they should do is the Premier League referees that have refed on the Saturday, why can't they ref the games on the Sunday? They're the best referees in the country, and they should be there for the women's games because that is the best women's league in the country as well. Yeah, no, absolutely. We definitely need better referees because. Then again, it does make football a bit more fun, doesn't it? Having bad referees sometimes. It does. I'm seeing comments here about saying, "Does Mike Dean ref the women's game too?" Trust us, guys. If you had to deal with the referees that we deal with in the women's league, you'd be begging for Mike Dean to come back. I disagree with that. Mike Dean is an awful referee and is the most arrogant referee I've ever seen. Were you at the West Ham game where you had the ref that kept calling them all Miss and by their surname? Like Raf went to do a throw in and he was like, Miss Rafferty. Yeah. Was that at home, Ali? Yeah, that was at home. Yeah, I can't remember I was there. What it was, but I was just remember that and I was like, really? Well, the funniest thing I had when I used to work at Billericay, I went on the pitch and I was in like my Billericay tracksuit, and he thought I was the assistant manager, and he was like, "Excuse me, sir," and he was just saying, "As you're the assistant manager," and I was thinking in my head, "How can you think I'm an assistant manager? I'm a 16-year-old boy." See, the joys that we have to put up with.
So, like we've said, the biggest thing for us this week is going to be the Chelsea game in Conti Cup and then the Tottenham game at the London Stadium. So we're trying to get as much support as we can. The games will be streamed on the Players app if you have it.
Tottenham game won't, because it's on BT.
That will be audio only, so you can listen to it unless you've got BT Sport. But the Conti Cup will be, it's Geo unlocked, so all of our American fans, you can get up early and cheer us against Chelsea.
Ali, has that been advertised, the Conti Cup? Because I think with that, I think it's one selected fixture, isn't it? Or am I wrong on that?
It will be one selected fixture for the ones in the league below, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit like it is for the league in the fact that all of the WSL games will be streamed, but the one of the ones between the two, like the league ones.
The biggest shock of the weekend, though, will be finding out you are missing the Chelsea game, I'm sure, Ali.
Oh, I got told off by Jilly for that one. Because she said, I get a girlfriend, and then suddenly I'm missing games. To be fair, we booked the weekend before they announced the Conti Cup fixtures, and I agreed that, as we'd already booked it, that we are going to miss it, but I will be glued to my app. Trust me, and I will be watching that game if I'm not physically there.
I'm in a bit of a situation with the Chelsea game anyway, because I'm not sure if the London Bridge train station is open on Sunday. So if it's not, I won't be attending.
Oh, the fun times. Hey, you can go from Victoria. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I might look into that then.
Yeah, go to... So, okay, I'm giving tips now because I did look into this. Go to Victoria, change at Clapham Junction, and then you can get down to Chelsea. It's very easy.
Brilliant.
Right, I think that's all that is from us tonight. Next week, we're going to be reviewing the Chelsea Conti Cup game. Again, looking forward to the Tottenham game. Plus, we'll be looking to spotlight another player. Also, a bit of a competition for the guys that do watch us. We need a new name because we're currently just the West Ham Women's Show. And then with the date. Anyone can come up with a good name for what we should be for our thing. If you can tweet either myself at Axel's Girl or you can see Reese's handle there. Or even just if you at the American Hammers TV of what we should call ourselves. But that is a good night from me.
And a good night from me.
Have a good night, guys.